Your Excellency, still regarding challenges, there is an allegation of black campaigns from the European Union towards Indonesia in terms of CPO. So we want to know, is this true or false?
Well, one has to distinguish very clearly between what is private initiative and what is public policy of the EU. And I can tell you with full sincerity that as far as the EU is concerned, there's no campaign at all regarding palm oil. Look at the statistics we have. Imports by the EU of palm oil and biofuels from Indonesia over the past couple of years have been fairly constant. The value went up and down in function of the world prices, but on the whole, our market is open and free. And I say that because the EU has the lowest tariffs for palm oil in the world. Much of it goes into the EU without any duties and a little bit with a duty of about 10%. So what is the issue is in fact very specific, and that concerns biofuels, where presently the EU considers biofuel made of palm oil not sustainable in connection with our renewable energy legislation. Indonesia disputes that position, and which is the reason why Indonesia took us to the WTO dispute settlement system, where the process is ongoing. So that is an issue that we haven't yet resolved, but we're waiting for the WTO ruling on it. Regarding palm oil in general, there is no barrier whatsoever, and our market is open. We are working on new legislation about sustainable commodities, where we will not want to place on our EU market commodities that are connected with deforestation. And I've been discussing this draft proposal extensively with the government, but also with industry, including with smallholders in Riau province and Sumatra. And the definition and the approach in that proposal seem entirely workable for Indonesia. So I'm very positive that our market will stay open for sustainable palm oil for the time to come. So no ban on palm oil at all, as I sometimes read in the media in Indonesia.
Moving on, Your Excellency, we've seen some countries in Europe, such as Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and also Iceland, who are known very critical when it comes to environmental issues, have now lifted the ban for CPO. So what is your view on this?
Well, first of all, they are not members of the EU, so whatever I say about them is about them as third countries. Secondly, I don't know what their pre-existing situation was, but I do know that in the future they will continue to trade import palm oil on one big condition, and that is that it can prove the sustainability of the production of the commodity. So it's not a situation where anything goes. No, it is a promotion of sustainable commodity. And the third thing I would say, and is very much that the EU has no ban on palm oil imports. So we are a very steady importer of the commodity. I would think that our import of the commodity far exceeds the importation done by Switzerland and Iceland and Liechtenstein. So our market will remain open.
Okay. Mr. Vincent, as we know, there is a lawsuit against each other currently. The European Union filed a lawsuit against Indonesia for the ban of nickel exports to the EU. So can you tell us a little bit more about this, and how is the EU responding to this lawsuit?
We filed suit against one specific measure taken by the government of Indonesia, and that is the export ban on nickel. We consider that incompatible with the WTO rules. And we will defend our case, defend our interests, of course, because at the end of the day, European steelmakers need nickel, and without it, there are thousands of jobs at stake. We are totally supportive of the government policy to strengthen and expand the local nickel industry in this country. That's a very legitimate and laudable goal. We do think there's a different way of getting there, and that way is while being totally compatible with the WTO, is simply to strengthen and improve the investment climate in Indonesia based on the omnibus bill, once it is again in force, let's assume, and investment climate for domestic players, but also for foreign ones. And the best way, looking at it from the EU point of view, the best way to do that is by negotiating as fast as we can this big, comprehensive free trade agreement between Indonesia and us.
Europe is struggling with the energy crisis that is currently going on during winter. So how challenging has it been in terms of the energy crisis?
Well, you're right. We were taken by surprise by this energy crisis, and like everybody else, I think. But what causes it? It's different factors in different ways. Clearly, the economic recovery was so fast that the supply, that the demand for gas and electricity went up very, very quickly and could not follow, hence the price rise. And internally within the EU, we have some inefficiencies in the interconnections between our member states in our single market, so that is also a factor. So what to do? Of course, in the first place, the goal of member states with support of the EU is very much to cushion the households, especially the lower income households, against the steep rise in electricity and gas prices. Also help companies, especially small companies that are suddenly faced with large bills that they can't afford to pay immediately. Help them bridge these difficult months. That is response one. Secondly, we have to work hard on dealing with the structural issues in our market. And secondly, push ahead with renewable energy, because that definitely is boosting our renewable energy sourcing. Solar in particular, but also wind, is going to make us stronger in facing this type of global problem than we are now.
Okay. During this energy crisis that Europe is currently facing, is there any talks to increase maybe Indonesia's supply of energy to the European Union?
At the present moment, no concrete discussions about that, but what we are keenly aware of is the need for diversifying supply over and above the traditional providers that we've had for decades.
Okay, Your Excellency, you mentioned there are a lot of investors from Europe willing to invest in Indonesia, but the challenge here is still the regulations and also the competition between fossil energy and sustainable energy.
Aspect needs to be conducive for investors to come here. Otherwise, why would they put their money in the sector if there's no certainty of a long-term level playing field?